Yo, 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 yo. Hey, hey, yo, hey,
Yo.
yo, hey. I know I shit on people for leather pants. I think a leather shirt is perfectly acceptable.
Shirt or jacket?
This an overshirt. It's a jacket, but it's also a shirt. It's a shirt.
But what I mean is like a leather undershirt.
No, you can't do that. No.
I was making sure.
Yeah, no, don't put no leather undershirt on. Like a muscle shirt?
I don't even know how that would work.
The chafing of the nipples would just be horrendous.
The chafing of the everything.
The chafing of the everything would be just, oh God. Jeff, I'm on a anti-stupidity campaign.
I'm with you.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I suspected, but trust me, I'm with you.
Yeah. Because here's the deal. And I know what people are going to think. They're going to hear anti-stupidity and they're going to think, oh, he's being ableist. And I just want to clarify before we jump into things, I'm also anti-ableism. In this context, we're saying that stupidity is an aversion, a hatred of curiosity, and the allowance of ego to supersede self-awareness. So this is a choice.
Yeah.
Right?
So you want to avoid information.
Yes.
Basically.
You hate to learn stuff. I'm Super Solid. This is my brother Jeff, and you are watching the For the Proletariat podcast, episode 8, baby. We're on a roll.
For the proletariat. For the proletariat. For the proletariat. For the proletariat.
Yeah. So we've defined stupidity, right? You know what? We hadn't talked about how do we define intelligence?
Intelligence.
Yeah.
I would say intelligence is the ability to take on new information and parse it and be able to like sort through it.
Okay. I would say that intelligence is a prowess for problem solving.
I could take that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta apply that new information too. I like both of those. Can we combine them? Can we smush them together?
I don't see why not.
Okay, so the ability to take on new information and utilize that information in the interest of problem solving.
I like it.
I fucks with it. I like it a lot. Yeah.
It.
Man, I want to show you something that happened earlier today in my life. You were actually there for it, but I want to show it to you again.
Yeah, I'll see it.
You might have forgot.
That's possible.
Yeah. You fuck with equity for show? BTW, do you fuck with equity you fuck with equity for show? That's about to be a new thing that I say. I'm just letting you know. I'm about to drive that into the ground.
I sense a t-shirt coming.
Oh, do you fuck with? I fuck with equity for show.
For show.
All right. Okay.
Hello.
By the way, for those who are new here, I do these topics all the time. Okay. I do a topic called On Live. I live stream from TikTok, and I want to discuss the structural functionalism of racism from a sociological lens. Okay. This is functionalist theory that we're applying here. For those of you who don't understand what that is, let me keep it simple. What role does racism play? Right? And how can we think about that role in ways that we're not usually thinking about this sociological phenomenon? Right?
If you want a simple version, it's how do people move? How do people wade through the topic of racism? Right. How do they interact? How does society move with it?
Exactly. That's even better. Thank you for helping me, because I'll get lost with the big words. I'll be like, listen, do the flux capacitor get put next to the space transmodulator? And then people be like, what are you talking about? What brought you up?
Well, your prompt. I wanted to bring a little common logic that any of us should really already have. So I believe everyone can be racist. And here's why I say this. I believe racism is a doctrined practice. For instance, if someone was born blind, can they be racist? No, they cannot. They can be racist only by being doctrined to being racist to a certain sound of person or smell. Because they have lost that sense to be able to see that race.
You out here smelling racism, Slim? You out here smelling racism? Now look, Jeff, what he's doing
sound. I miss sound.
You miss sound? Oh, he did say sound, huh? You sound racist, right?
I had some wingtip shoes.
Yeah.
Yo, what sound do Timbs make?
Right. Like yeah, I hear the hippie to the hip hop and you don't stop. I hear that shit in your voice right now. So I'm gonna let him.
Sounds like a really big clock on a chain.
Yeah, but smelling a race is crazy work. That is unhinged. Smell is crazy work.
Well, I mean, everyone has a different smell. Just because you smell same as someone else does not mean you're the same race. Is what I'm saying. That it's a doctrine nature. It's all a doctrine practice. Is what I'm saying. It's something that someone has taught you to dislike this specific thing.
We not blazing past that. What shit? What do black people smell like?
I mean, I don't know. It smells like a human, man.
Huh?
I mean, I'm tell you straight honest truth. It smells like a human, man. I mean, we all smell like humans.
So if it's just a human smell, then what the fuck is we talking about racism for? What are we talking about racism for if it's
I'm just racist towards humans.
Right. Like
everybody.
That's not how that works, man. What are you doing? How the blind person gonna know I'm black by the smell then?
That's what I'm saying, though, dude. It's a doctrine nature. It's they were taught to dislike that certain smell, that certain sound, that certain whatever, feel whatever. For instance, if you didn't like the touch of concrete while you were blind, you were gonna dislike the touch of concrete, right? You are not going to like the texture of concrete at all.
So are all black people? Are black people blind?
No. But what I'm saying is, if a black person was blind, could they be racist to a white person?
No.
Same thing goes the other way. If a white person was blind, could they be racist to a black person?
Yes.
Born blind without being doctrined.
Without being doctrined? What are you talking about? Another thing is, bro, say indoctrinated. Say indoctrinated.
I just want to point out that he said, if you don't like concrete, you won't like concrete.
No shit. Hey, I just want you to know, okay, if water's wet, it's going to be wet.
Brilliant hypothetical. Love it.
Let's say for a second that gazelles are fast, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
Then when they run, they're going to be fast.
Got it. I love that analysis is on point, yo.
Because them gazelles are doctrined. Listen, the reason why I'm playing this, and I'm going to play it almost in its entirety, because I want y'all to understand what the need for my crusade against stupidity. Real shit. So they was born blind in a bubble, like in outer space?
No. They were born blind
from society.
Their parents did not teach them anything about race.
Nah, it's part of the American socialization process to be anti-black, my man.
No, bro, it's a doctrine nature.
Even black people are anti-black.
Look. I'll put it this way. I don't remember his first name, but that Cosby boy.
That Cosby boy.
Come on.
I'm missing stuff that he's saying because some of the shit that he's saying is so left field. Can't even. What was his name? Was it Phil?
I want to think it was Buddy
Malcolm
Cosby.
Jamal Warner's a grown ass man.
Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's what I was trying to think of.
That bro is a grown ass man.
That's an adult. Malcolm Jamal Warner, like, come on, man. We seen him get older and get dreads. Malcolm Jamal Warner older than us.
Facts.
Cosby boy is crazy.
I was yay high when he did the yellow shirt thing.
The scene with the earring where they leaning back and doing this, like I was a knee high to a grasshopper when that junk came out. Are you kidding me, bruh? Cosby boy is unhinged. Like Slim don't even realize he in the middle of doing racism, right? And this is why I'm glad you said the ability to take in new information, right? Because he's in the middle of trying to problem solve, but he hasn't considered what he doesn't know. Like he hasn't dug any deeper. He's trying to intuit an argument. He's trying to intuit his own functional theory about racism just on the surface, like what they teach you in like elementary school. Sometimes people black, sometimes people white, and we're all supposed to love each other.
Buddy Cosby or some shit like that.
I can't speak past the fact that we said that Cosby boy.
That
And
Cosby
the next sentence was, and I'm not racist because I wasn't.
Did you see the olfactory racism? He was like, blind people could be racist via the smell.
No, I didn't catch that. That's funny though.
He's like, oh, I smell Jerry curl.
Is that the? Do I detect the faint scent? Do I detect the faint scent of red Kool-Aid?
Shit. Oh shit! Red Kool-Aid is unhinged.
What's driving me crazy is the whole time we joke. He literally going to look for.
Oh my God! So Pete, I want y'all to understand. I'm not gonna play all the way over there because we got shit to do. Okay. But when he said Cosby boy, he put in the comments later that what he meant was Clayton Bigsby.
My man was in the wrong
entire
show, the wrong character, the wrong decade, the wrong channel.
The idea was wrong because Clayton Bigsby was a black guy that was a white supremacist. So he wasn't racist against white people. He was racist against black. Come on, man. Come on. And I hate that people got a hold of the old Dave Chappelle show, because the exact reason why he quit was the exact reason why I'm upset now, is because they missed the actual joke. They just saw racism and thought the shit was funny. They said racism, ha ha ha. No, goofy. Dave Chappelle's joke was trying to say how we were supposed to be laughing at how absurd racism is. The talking point that if we got reparations, we would spend it all on cigarettes and Cadillacs and Jordans and shit. That was the joke. The joke was not, I'm rich, biatch, that black folks was actually doing it in that skit. The joke was that your idea of what black people are going to do, the stereotypes that you assign to black people, are ridiculous.
Because that skit was a news broadcast.
It was a news broadcast.
If anything else tells you, that's like, could you, I mean, then you know what it is that the people who don't get the joke actually think that news broadcast would happen.
They think it would happen. That's what they already think about black people.
Yeah, like black people got reparations last week and Nike stock. So like,
wow, that's wild. That's wild. It is the allowance of ego to supersede self-awareness. Jeff, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to say it bluntly. Was that Kadunka Chud self-aware?
Absolutely not.
Not at all. Not one iota.
In the slightest. And you know, the reason that it's the ego that stops you is because if he would have stopped for 1 second and thought, shit, they're laughing at me because I'm doing something silly, right? And then thought, wait, they repeated it. Cosby boy. I called a black man a boy. And then said, oh, hey guys, I didn't realize I was doing it. My mistake. There's the new information, the analysis, and then you're like, oh, I get it. And then we would have stopped laughing. Oh,
would have stopped laughing immediately.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm glad you saw that.
He would have did it the whole thing. But instead, he want to keep going like he's serious. This is not a cogent breakdown of racism. Listen, I'm gonna spin it out real quick. Okay? You can hear the buttons as I flap my jacket. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Flap. Jingle.
Okay, listen. The way that racism functions in society is specifically as a post hoc justification for the exploitation of labor. Okay? That's what it's been from its conception. That is how it has always been. There's been no meaningful intervention to reverse that paradigm. Racism functions specifically to exalt whiteness, okay, dehumanize, debase, vilify, disenfranchise all non-white people. Period. Point blank, period. Right? That's easy, right? Now, if we could have had that discussion, if he would have asked questions, if he would have said anything, instead, he wanted to give me his analysis. And his analysis was that racism is indoctrination, which I am inclined to agree with, that there is a part of it that involves being indoctrinated. It is a part of our socialization process to be anti-non-white. That's part of our socialization process. I would have given him that. Right. But then he goes into the, if you can't see, right? Because in his mind, racism doesn't extend beyond that. He's not thinking about the actual functionalism of racism, right? He's not thinking about the actual purpose of racism, right? If I would have been able to contain my laughter, I would have just started with the Mindy and Buttons, right? Just, why, right? Because I want him to think. But what I think it probably would have turned ugly. I think laughing was probably the best measure I could have taken, because my man never checked himself. He never stopped to say, like, are you understanding? Am I on track? You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the other part that, like, and I'm going to just say this is the part that makes it stupidity, is like, let's say I go up to you and I have this entire theory for why aliens are real.
Okay.
And I tell you that, I looked off into the moon and I saw this light. And as I'm saying that, you go, that light's reflecting from the sun, right? Now, if I have a whole thing after that light, a whole thing I want to say, the stupid thing for me to do would be for me to ignore what you said and keep talking.
And just keep going.
Like, if I thought that light was like coming from a UFO flashlight, and I'm like, and that's why UFOs are real. And you say, hey, that's reflected off the sun. And we encounter that all the time, where somebody will say something and we'll say, have you considered this? And they act like you didn't just say nothing.
They talk right past you.
I call it the Teddy Ruxpin effect, where like they'll say their thing and then they press pause on the cassette tape. If you don't know who Teddy Ruxpin is, it's a teddy bear with a cassette tape on his chest, and he says stuff, but he don't have no like voice recognition on it. It's you just press play. I love you, whatever, right?
I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
I never had one.
I had one. I would play Michael Jackson's Dangerous on it. And so he would, Dangerous, and
that's funny.
You're beautiful, my baby, you don't, and he'd be over there. Maybe it's Michael Jackson's fault. It don't matter if you're black or white. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
But, well, we'll break that down one day, because there's some bars. When I'm done saying, like, I'll press play on tape. Moon, light, flashlight, pause, it's Solid's turn. And then you say, yo, the sun, light, boom, boom, boom. And then if you just press play again, you're just going to the next thing that's already on the tape.
It's already there. It has nothing to do with what I asked you, my critique, nothing.
Nope, nothing.
I don't know how they do that. It's almost a skill at this point. It's as though they have a script prepared in their mind, like you're saying, right? And they are just sticking to that script. And you almost have to admire it. It's almost like a stage performance.
Like, for me, if I have we talk on the phone all the time. We throw ideas back and forth. Mm-hmm. If I think like a specific thing about a news story, and there's like, we each work in specialized fields.
Right.
And there's a thing about a specialized field that and you can say, hey, Jeff, actually, that's this. My reaction is going to be like, oh, shit, Solid just gave me some new data. Great. Let me rewind. Let's rewrite that section, because now I had new information. I could do a new conclusion. That's perfect. I know more stuff. But often the thing is the exact opposite. It's just this allergy. Like, I don't even want to like parse it. I don't even want to like see if it's a fact. Like, just nothing.
Right. I think that is an important skill to have, to be able to take in that new information and then revise. And that doesn't mean change your original viewpoint, right? It just means, let me add some to my repertoire. Let me put some on my tool belt, and then like that'll help strengthen what I already believe, or it may help me strengthen my holistic worldview. But just to just go, Swiss Family Robinson. Let me tell you why I think this happens, Jeff. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let Stuart Huff tell you why I think this happens. I got a video for you. Now, forgive me because these drawings are crude, but I think you're going to get a kick out of this.
Of law convicted him of heresy and ordered him beaten with his own book. If you didn't laugh at that, you ain't got no dark comedy.
Okay, I know we're talking about stupidity, right? But if I'm gonna unalive you, God, I'm saying unalive you. If I'm gonna kill you, I mean, we gotta. That's poetic justice, right? To be killed with your own book because of your book. Is that okay? I'm just saying I respect it.
Look, I get it.
I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Right. Believe me, I get it. But the second layer of irony is that it's a medical book.
It's a medical.
So you trying to kill someone with the same shit that later on could save your life.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? By the way, this comes from Stuart Huff's comedy album. Stuart Huff, Huff, his comedy album, God Hates Anne. I recommend it for anybody. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're stupid smart. I don't give a fuck. I suggest you go and watch it because it's good. It's a good listen. It's a nice little hour. What else we doing around here? So the reason I bring up that video is because I think the enemy to intelligence is dogmatic thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So for the audience that may not know, like, what is dogma, Jeff? Like, what is dogma to you?
Dogma is a commitment to accepting a set of facts as 100% true.
And when it's a belief, what's the difference between a belief and a dogma?
Like, if I have a belief, I would say that, like, you told me something and I accept it. Like, I'm just accepting of it as true. Like, I believe you. But for a belief, there's always the fluidity, because, like, I'll give you an example. You tell me you bought a dog,
mm-hmm.
and that's nothing. That's easy. So just you telling me, and I've known you for a while, you're not gonna lie to me,
right?
And I'm gonna see the dog, and I'm gonna be like, "There's a dog.
There's a dog."
Now, I go to your house, and I don't see no dog anywhere, right? And you're like, "Yeah, the dog is here," and you point to the corner, and ain't no dog there. Now I no longer believe you bought a dog.
Right.
Right. Like that's how easy it happened. If there was a dogma where I say I accept 100%, part of my dogma is that Solid has a dog, then it don't matter. When you point to the corner and you say the dog is there, at best, what I could tell you is, Solid, you're confused. He's not there. You must have taken him I'll come up with an excuse for you.
Right.
You must have taken him.
Dogmatically, your dogma is that I have a dog.
No matter what, you have a dog.
And any evidence that I don't have a dog will be rejected, written off, all of the above. Okay. The biggest reason I think that dogmatic thinking is a huge part of idiocy, a big part of stupidity. I think it's a huge part of stupidity, right? Is dogmatic thinking. And I think that makes people dangerous, right? And I am going to swagger Jack Dietrich Bonhoeffer. It's we had this call. Is it Bonhoeffer or Bonhoeffer?
I was going to look it up.
Yeah, Bonhoeffer is like French for good cow.
We'll go with, you know what? I know that's wrong, but we're going to go with it anyway.
So he just Bonhoeffer for the rest of the...
Yeah, he's Bonhoeffer, and that's to give you an opportunity to correct us in the comments. That's what I want. I want you to correct us, and we're going to show you how dogmatic we are when we reply and tell you you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah, you absolutely wrong.
Bonhoeffer.
Yeah, somebody, I don't know, is that German? Whatever it is.
I think it's German.
Yeah, somebody could come in and be like, no, traditionally that's pronounced. And I'm going to be like, no.
No.
Because Bonhoeffer's funnier.
Good cow. Bonhoeffer.
Yeah, there we go.
Good cow. So that's it. So in the comments, correct us. We are going to absolutely not pay any attention to what you said. Because we're dogmatic. You know what I mean? Dietrich Bonhoeffer believed, he was a philosopher. He was actually a big church guy. He was real big into the church, but he believed that stupidity was more dangerous than evil. And I'm going to read a quote here by him. Let me see here. I got to peek around my microphone in order. Excuse me. Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of good than malice. One may protest against evil. It can be exposed and, if need be, prevented by use of force. Evil always carries within itself the germ of its own subversion, in that it leaves behind in human beings at least a sense of unease. And so we're like, ooh, ew, right?
The Holocaust, yuck.
Ooh, ugh, gross, right? Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protest nor the use of force accomplish anything here. So you can't beat the stupid out motherfucker. Is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. So even if I beat you up, you still gonna be stupid. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict one's prejudgment simply need not be believed. So just like when I offer a Kadunkachud, hey man, no, race was invented in 1452. It hasn't been around since the beginning of time, like as a classification system. Nah, it's been around. Well, now what the fuck do I do with this? What do I do with this? There's nothing to do. Let me see. In such moments, the stupid person becomes critical. So now the Kadunkachud is telling me that I'm stupid. Jeff, I'm going to tell you for real, bro. How many lives have we been on where the Kadunkachud, who is obviously wrong, who has obviously done no critical thinking, tells you that you're stupid?
A lot. I mean, an extraordinary amount.
I'm gonna do you one better. That's equally as insulting to me when I'm talking about something that's complex, and a Kadunkachud will tell me I'm making it too complicated. That's so fucking insulting.
Yeah.
What do you mean making it too complicated? What do you mean? So what you're telling me is to just that the only way to be right is to stay at your level of understanding? You want me to be more like what they're actually saying is, don't make me think, is really what they're actually saying. Stop making me think. In all this, with stupid person in contrast, I'm sorry.
The other one is when you go down the list of questions. So we're talking about a topic, and I say like, okay, let's say we're talking about the history of the Empire State Building, and I say, how many books have you read about the history of the Empire State Building?
None.
Have you ever visited the Empire State Building? Gone inside it, gone all the way to the top, like looked at it, touched it? No. Have you ever researched any statistics? Height, how many stories it is? What's that pointy thing at the top?
Ain't no pointy thing.
But you know more about the Empire State Building than the person up here who's been studying it for their whole life.
You're going to argue with me.
Of course I know more.
Of course I know more.
What do you need reading for?
Dream?
Actually, that actually happened. So, okay, I was having a conversation with somebody who said that inflation was caused by the vaccine mandates. That's what they said. And so I said, you mean like a lot of the inflation, like a majority? Yeah. And I was like, all right, so can you show me the math that you did to get to that conclusion where you like, because inflation is a number. So when inflation went up, the reason was because there were vaccine mandates. Like, can you show me the math that accounts for that? And the answer I got was, what do you mean math? That's it right there. That's undefeated. That's impenetrable.
What do you mean? What do I mean math? That's why I said when people ask me, what do you mean? I'll be like, what do you mean? What do I mean?
That fortress. Like, because if somebody just said, look, I just don't like Democrat, and I want to be a real stickler about that. So I want to believe this. I could deal with that. Like, you're telling me like you just a bad person because you just don't like a group. That's fine. Cool. But what do you mean math? That's the final boss fortress with a level 1 character. Like you can't get.
Slim, if I have to explain what math is to you, there's no way we can have this conversation. We have to have a baseline understanding of the same things in order to have this conversation. And this is where I get hung up, because hands down, I have begun just telling ops that they don't belong in the conversation. Sorry, Kadunka Chud, you don't belong in this conversation. You don't have the prerequisite. Matter of fact, earlier today, somebody even said it. They said, you know what? You're right. It was beautiful. It was before you showed up. That was today. Somebody was in the conversation and they said, well, I just think that everybody could be racist. I don't think anything is holding black people back. And so I asked a simple question. If racism and white supremacy isn't a big problem today, then how do you explain the macro level disparities across racial lines? And she said something beautiful. It was so beautiful. This is the reason why I'm not kirking out. Because she says, you know what? I don't think I'm equipped to have this conversation. Smartest person.
That's wonderful.
Smartest person. Slim, is you Socrates right now? Smartest person I've had a conversation with on the app besides, my gang. My gang is the smartest people I kick it with. We should give her a medal, to be honest with you. A member of Mensa fucking grave.
Look, mea culpa, but I don't know why that's so funny, Solid. I told you I done purged my system of all sins.
Okay.
I went to confession. I told the priest all the stuff. I did my Hail Marys. I'm good, Solid.
So then what you saying is that at this point, the petty is on a molecular level? Is that what you're telling me now?
We looking at quarks.
Looking at quarks? The fact that it took like a smooth 5 minutes to hit me too. The fact that I was like, I was in the middle of talking. Yeah. So then I was walking down the street. Okay. All right. Anyway, inside joke, y'all. Inside joke. I think the question is, what is to be done about stupidity in self and in others?
Well, in self is easy. Just admit you're stupid.
I'm going to do it right now. Watch this. I'm stupid.
Yeah. It's simple. Look, I'm stupid as fuck. Just say you stupid. And once you admit it, it's easy. Your head's not gonna roll off your shoulders.
It's not.
You now know that in order to correct that, you gotta do things that are smart.
I was looking on psychology today. So there are 3 semantic mantras that I would like to normalize, at least for us, for my followers, for the gang, for anybody who is looking to become a more intelligent person. These 3 semantic mantras are as follows. I don't know. I made a mistake. And I've changed my mind. Jeff, what does I don't know do for us? That's the admitting that we don't.
I don't know immediately opens the door for new information. Like as soon as you say I don't know, the door just bang right wide open, because now that area, the room that you're sitting in. So think about it. You asked me something. You asked me something about like the diameter of Pluto. And I go, yo, you know what? I go in and the little dude in my head goes into that room where the information, diameter of Pluto is at. And he looks around and is like, now if I say 1,000 miles, and I'm just guessing, I just put something in that room. So I close the door. Like, I already got something in here. Right. But when you say, I don't know, that means you looked around the room and you recognize there ain't nothing here.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing here. So immediately you got to open the door.
Yeah.
And open yourself up to new information.
And you have to say, I don't know.
I actually don't know.
Not there.
And look, as a challenge, right? the first 10 people that put the answer in the comments to the diameter of Pluto, DM me, and I'll give you a coupon for the merch store.
Hey, yo, some end of a species merch. Okay, well, look, I'm gonna match that shit. All right. And the second 10 people that put in the comments the diameter, y'all gonna get a coupon as soon as I figure out how to do a coupon to some end of the species to some 4TP merch, huh?
Facts.
What do you think? There you go. There you go. I made a mistake. That mantra. I made a mistake. That's the second part, right? Where first you've acknowledged that you don't have the information on hand, right? I made a mistake is, to me, sounds like forgiving yourself for not having that information on hand. And that'll free you up to say the next stop is it's time to go find that information.
Yeah.
Right. The thing I said before, I don't have to stick to that. I don't have to stay there. If you've got some bad information or if you get some new information that changes your whole view. Like, Jeff, one time you told me this thing about zooming out, where it's like something about like sticking a needle in a baby or something like that. It was
you better get that right. No,
contextualize that, huh? Like, so you was just out here sticking needles in babies. No.
So it's a thought experiment I like to do about morals and about calling things good or bad.
Right.
And it starts out with sticking a needle in the arm of a child. And so you walk in and you zoom in and all you see is a needle in the arm. And you're like, oh, you poking it. And then I'm like, zoom out a little bit. And you see that there's a syringe.
Right.
With medicine.
Medicine. In
Boom. Then you zoom out a little more and you find out new information that the child is allergic to this medicine.
To that medicine.
And then you zoom out a little more and you realize that the child is sick, needs the medicine, but I have an EpiPen.
Okay. So pause right there. Each time we zoom out, we're gaining new information.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing to say is like, okay, now I have new information. I didn't have all the information. That's the I don't know. Now we say I've made a mistake. Every time we've zoomed out, now we got new information. We have to now reassess.
Correct.
We have to admit to ourselves that we've made a mistake. Now, I've changed my mind comes with the assigning of good and bad.
Yeah.
Right? So now we say, you know what? I used to think this. I got some new information.
Now I think the other thing.
Now I think the other thing. I've changed my mind.
And here's the most important thing about that. Like usually I show it, I do it for a different type of thing. But in this context, the important thing to note is that at no time when you're thinking about this child getting medicine, getting an EpiPen, et cetera, at no time am I going to give you a piece of information that's relevant to you changing. And you're going to be like, let's throw that away.
Mm.
Like if I gave you the information, like if I gave you the information that this child is allergic to the medicine.
Right.
You're not going to be like, no, it's still good to give him the medicine.
No, you're still good.
You're going to take that information and say, oh, time out. I got to think before I let this medicine go in this child's arm. Oh, you got an EpiPen? Nah, forget that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So whatever new information that makes you get a new assessment, you don't want to throw it out.
Yeah. Which is like when people think they're diametrically opposed to us, right? Right. People think that, for example, a great example, we have the racism conversations and then they say the notorious thing, Black people sold Black people into slavery, as though we are now supposed to revamp our entire mode of thought, right? Like we're supposed to change everything that we knew. This is groundbreaking. What? This is the first I'm hearing. Well, let's say, first of all, that happened so scantily, so seldom, that it's almost not even worth mentioning. It's a fun little factoid at history buff parties. Not so fun for me because, well, you know, I'm a descendant of slaves. But then when I take in that information, all that does is give me a more well-rounded view of what's going on, because then I can compare that to, well, who bought them, right? What are the names of those tribes? How often did it happen? And we still end up at the same place. You know what I mean? But letting that information get in there just makes my understanding of the topic much stronger. And so I'm able to have these conversations at a much higher level than some Chud who thinks he's got a gotcha.
Yeah.
So we've talked about what is to be done about stupidity in one's self, stupidity in others. What is to be done about that? Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he says you can't do nothing about it. Ain't nothing you can do. You can't beat it out of them. You can't shame them. You can't, nothing. They like that shit.
I'm not 100% sure who this next quote is. I forget this dude's name. I think it's the dude that wrote Gulliver's Travels, but it's usually credited to him. But I'm not sure if he's the one that said it. But it's, you can't reason somebody out of a position that they didn't reason their way into. But in a sense, I think you can shame them. In a sense, I think you can show them the bruise on their brain, right? Like sometimes somebody will run into a wall a bunch of times and they don't realize they got a big old welt under their eye from running into the wall. And then you just put up a mirror and you show them the welt. You can show them how the thing that they're doing is actually hurting their brain.
Right.
Right. And then eventually it's really just saying like, hey, this version of this, I want to say methodology, but I don't want to use that with a stupid person. I want to say like this thing that you've adopted that you think is the right thing.
Right.
Is not as good as the thing in this school where we get all the information from. Like, nah, you're not getting good stuff.
Right.
You're jacked up and you should feel bad.
You should feel bad for having the bad stuff. I feel like an option is just to like leave them alone. But then, so here's the deal. You can't make stupid people will come and find you.
And it's not only that. And this is part of like my brand, right? Like,
yeah.
There used to be less safety nets for stupidity in society. Like if you were dumb and you fucked with the rattlesnake,
right,
and it bit you like 300 ago, that was it. You were dead.
No one-ups.
Yeah, that's it. Today, if you do that,
mm-hmm. Sonic rings. You can get them rings.
Yeah,
back.
They got all sorts of things and whatnots and boom baps and whatever. Like somebody think about the innovation of making somebody drink charcoal
for some type of poisoning. Yeah,
because they couldn't, either on purpose or by accident.
Yeah,
they ate the berries that they saw gave indigestion to the other little monkeys. Like here, with all the warnings on all the shit we got, and yeah.
They put do not ingest on so much shit.
And so that's the layers. It's number one, I gotta tell you not to eat this. The little, like you go into a box and the little thing the silica gel thing that's supposed to like absorb
all the moisture.
Do not eat.
Don't eat that.
But then if you do, we have mitigation for you not to
Listen, hear me out though. Hear me out, because when you say don't eat it, now I want to know. That's just curiosity. That's intelligence. Because now I'm trying to figure out what happened.
Here's a fun little and I'm gonna tell you that I don't know what I've not experienced this, but by virtue of saying it, I've gotten other people to experience it. If you have a Nintendo Switch and the little cartridges that go in the Switch, they're like tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But Nintendo makes kid games. So you got these little tiny cartridges. That's a hazard. And so what they've done is they coated the cartridges with this stuff that makes it taste bad. So if you put it in your mouth, you immediately spit it out. And I've told that to people, and right in my face,
they echo it or what?
They take the thing and they're like,
"Oh, no, eat it." Does it well? That don't taste bad. What you talking?
And you'll see their face like, ugh, it does taste bad.
I told you, man.
Because if a little kid puts it in their mouth, it's gonna be visceral for them. But that's saving their life. But there's a person's like, and they don't even know if if they're taking the coating off.
Right.
But then, I gotta taste that. So
I'm the same way. I'm sorry. If you would have told me that, I would have tasted. I'm just being honest with myself.
But look, there's the guy trope, right? Like, I just want to smell this fart. You know that. But if I told you it was cyanide, you would put it right there. Put it right there. But the thing is that I want to walk away from stupid every time. I really do. But I just know that there's going to be some guardrail. Like, you're going to throw the bowling ball like it's a basketball.
Right.
And there's going to be guardrails on either side. So that when the ball goes ding, 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 and knocks down one pin, you're going to be like, aha, I'm on to something. The best way to bowl is to throw the bowling ball like a basketball.
And then we gotta deal with you possibly injuring somebody, and eventually the ball makes it over to the next lane, and hence stupidity is more dangerous than evil. As far as stupidity and others think, I hate to say it, y'all, shame has utility. Now, I'm not talking about bringing back shame like old buddy was talking about the other day, right? Where he says, what he meant was women should stop twerking. That's really what he meant. That's stupid. I don't let them women. Yeah, you weird for that. But shame does have a societal utility, right? Like a social sanctioning is what that is, right? I think it should go larger, though. I think it should be larger. I think instead of it being a violation of a folkway to be dogmatic in your thinking, I think it should be a taboo. I think that dogmatic thinking should be so severely shamed that it is like a sociological or a cultural sewer slide. It's the cyanide. You know what I mean? We treat you like an absolute social pariah for being dogmatic. That's the utopia that I envision.
Big facts.
But you know what I mean? Everybody, I'm a free thinker while repeating the exact things that I heard from Candace Owens, right? Fuck that. You know what I mean? No. Be an actual free thinker. Like, you know what I mean? And there's a way to do that. And eventually we will talk about these learning techniques. But we have reached the end of this episode. And so I want to thank you all for showing up. You got some pluggables?
Yeah, just go to endofaspecies.com.
Go to endofaspecies.com right now.
The Bob and Rose 6 collection at some point is going to be gone. Some of you have gotten a t-shirt, hoodie, or iPhone case. The t-shirts and the hoodies are dope. iPhone case is on point. But if you go to endofaspecies.com, go get you something from Bob and Rose 6. And if you don't remember, I'll give you the 10 seconds. Bob and Rose 6 is the people that we're talking about in this episode. They're the ones that should be in the audience taking notes, but they really want to go on stage to show you how much they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. Also, what you can do is you can go to 4tpbysolid.com to pick up on some episodes, to get some merch. Okay. We got some pink proletariat over there. Hurry up because it's being phased out. We got some Dead Prez merch, okay, where you can stand in solidarity with folks who want to eradicate a private ownership of the means of production. We believe that the means of production should go to the working class, and that we should stop using money to steal from the working class. We should stop siphoning wealth from the working class. We should stop exploiting the labor of the working class. It's a deep thing. One day I'm going to put it, and I'm going to give you the game. I'm going to explain the whole thing behind the Dead Prez merch and my new apocalyptic theme. But in order to see that, you're going to have to go to the Patreon. Catch you one of those exclusive contents that I got there for subscribers. Where can I find the Patreon, Solid? On 4tpbysolid.com. Get you right there. You go to my website and then you scroll down and then it's right there. It says Patreon for the proletariat and Patreon. You click on it and you become a subscriber. It's $5. It's not a lot of money. and you get exclusive content. We got behind the scenes content. It's unhinged, to be honest with you. I'm sliding a little pink beard in there. Yeah, I'm gonna slide a little pink beard on the Patreon. So you yeah, you catch it when you can catch it.
That's how you get the behind the scenes.
That's right. All power to all the people except for Ralph. Do something good for your neighbor. Love y'all.